Hey,
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 Philo.
what it is, man?
Tell you what,
What
you
a
got me
day.
off the recliner, hooked up to my ice machine.
Okay.
Um,
Ice machine. That's some
come
nice
and do this.
technology.
It's kind of needed. So if you can keep ice on for like all the time,
Yeah.
that's good. The problem is where the port for it is like behind me. So at
Mm.
nighttime, it's not as easy for me to get up because I can't sleep in the bed yet. So for those that do not know, I had surgery on my right shoulder
Yikes.
Thursday, and
And you're live
yeah,
on Sunday.
yeah. Sometimes you got to play hurt.
Y'all let us know in the space if you can hear Jason. I got a new phone since we've last been live, and it is the new phone with the USB C. And so I just want to double check. Somebody comment in that if you can hear both of us. Be much appreciated. Just trying to make sure you guys in the Twitter space, not the live. And
Both
then
are good.
we,
We see my puffer jacket right there. So I guess let's go ahead and get right into it, man. Greetings and salutations. Welcome to another episode of To the Top Talk, brought to you by. Oh, Katie just walked out of here. Katie Bailey with Dunbar Real Estate. To the Top Talk is the original and longest running Southern Miss podcast in the market. We're recording this we're live on Pilo,
December the 8th.
coming to you live from beautiful Hattiesburg, Mississippi. Here, as always, with your break from the high resource for propaganda to talk a little Southern Miss athletics. I'm your host, Jason Bailey, and that guy over there doing everything that I'm not doing is Patrick Lowry.
Hey, special Sunday edition. This is rare.
We thought that this might come about last Sunday,
Yep. Yep. And everybody had to
and
wait a long
it
time.
kind of did, but then Marshall won,
Yeah. What are you thinking,
right?
Marshall? Yeah.
Which is good. But of course the big news that has been like the worst kept secret ever. Marshall even hired a coach. The
Right.
strangest, the strangest just turn of events, or just
Yeah. I
like
mean,
how the dominoes fell. It's like
it's almost like a made for TV movie or something.
very strange. But Charles Huff, Pilo, we've kind of talked about a lot of the candidates along the
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
Charles Huff started to rise to the top of a lot of those conversations.
Mm-hmm.
So now that we've had a week to sit on it, and we were able to watch a lot of that game yesterday. I don't know if you watched all of it or not. I was kind of
Yeah. I
flipping back
watched
and
a pretty good
forth
chunk of it. Yeah.
between Hattiesburg High getting hammered by
Yeah. That's
Grenada.
unfortunate.
It
I
was,
never knew that Grenada had such a team, but apparently
man,
they
that
do.
defense was crazy. Give
Yeah.
me some of those guys.
Yeah.
Um, but so Charles Huff. So the presser just finally went out a minute ago. Do you have that available?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, if you
Um,
want to run through that, so people that have not heard it, or if you want to hit on some high points, however you want to do it. I'm just solo left hand here, so
yeah.
that's going to
Yeah,
be really
I'll read some inserts from this presser on southernmiss.com, but kind of kicking it off is a quote from Jeremy McLean that says, as we started this search, we were focused on finding a dynamic leader who could get our program back to competing for championships, relative. And Coach Huff has proven that he is a winner and can build a championship team and culture within the Sun Belt. We look forward to supporting him on his journey to the top. Huff comes to Southern Miss, obviously, as serving as the head coach from Marshall for the past four seasons and posting a 32-20 record, accumulating a 31-3 win last night over the ULL Cajuns. Sorry, guys. He holds the distinction of being the only Marshall coach in FBS era to lead her to a bowl game in each of his first four seasons. Impressive. During his tenure there, he enjoyed victories over number 8 Notre Dame in 2022 and Virginia Tech in 23. And the 26 win over Notre Dame was part of a 9-4 season and was Marshall's first win over a top 10 team since 2003. In the first year, Huff was at Marshall. They finished 7-6 while going to its 17th bowl appearance since moving up to FBS in '97. So that's pretty good. 6-6 in the regular season during the 23 before dropping 35-17 to UTSA in the Frisco Bowl. Um, let's see. Describes him as an elite recruiter and developer of talent. Huff's proven history bolstered head coach Nick Saban's staff for the 2019 and 2020 seasons in his inaugural season at Tuscaloosa. This is some good names here. Huff helped Najee Harris, a name that you hear a lot on Sundays, rush for a career best 1,224 yards.
Did you say Denaja Harris?
I did not, but when we got him, I was like, why does that name sound so familiar? And then I was like, oh yeah, Najee, different. And then he also had stops at Penn State. Had some experience in the NFL. Was at Western Michigan. Was at the Buffalo Bills, Vandy, Hampton, Maryland, and Tennessee State. He had one season in Starkville. But in that season, he produced an effective rushing attack, averaging 223 yards rushing per game, second in the SEC and 20th nationally.
So I would like to do all of those things, all of those bowl games that you read off, and winning the conference and having people go into the NFL. And to your knowledge, Pilo, should we expect him to bring a bunch of Marshall's players with him?
I mean, I think you're gonna. I don't think it's as many as people think. I think there are probably people out there that think like all 82 of their scholarship players are coming on a bus down to Hattiesburg. I don't think that's the case. I think you'll have guys that'll stay there, but I do think you'll have 10 to 20 maybe or so. And then we also know his position on NIL, and I think that's obviously a thing that was super attractive about Southern Miss is our position on NIL. I think he will attack the portal and fill gaps where he sees. I mean, he saw us firsthand across the sidelines. He kind of knows what we had, and still
is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Yeah, still accepted the job, and I'm sure he's glad to be here. We're glad to have him. One thing for me is talking about the game yesterday, watching that game, I absolutely love the physicality of Marshall. I think they've always been a team that's been super physical. They've always had good lines, defensive lines, especially even during that Fedora year. The defensive line, when we played them in that game, if you remember, they had that one guy that went to the NFL. I can't remember his name. Super physical up front. And we've just lacked that. We've lacked physicality. They knocked some quarterbacks out of the game last night. Was a big factor in the game, in the championship game. And I feel like with Fedora, thinking about those seasons, we did that a lot. We straight bullied people for multiple seasons. We were more physical. We were in better shape. We ran defense to sideline, and in those second halves we dominated where their defense was down. I look to get back to that, and I was super excited.
A lot of similarities through the years between Hattiesburg and Huntington, between Marshall and Southern Miss. I've always had a ton of respect for Marshall, and it's just really until the last decade. That's kind of fared off. And you mentioned some of that intimidation factor and swagger that has just left us entirely.
Yep.
And from all that I hear, you mentioned like being kind of part of the Saban tree and all those other coaches that he worked for. That's I think that's something that he's going to bring back immediately. I saw you guys play last year. I could see there's some talent on that side of the ball or on that side of the field. But all this is going on and all that's going on, that's over with. We're about to work, right? I think you're going to get a lot of that from the get-go out of Coach Huff. Well,
Marshall didn't waste any time. I see a tweet here 12 minutes ago. They've already announced Tony Gibson officially from their account. So, interesting.
I think we're gonna find out what's going on here, and why did Huff not sign either one of those contracts? Reportedly offered two separate deals. And I understand that Southern Miss has upped the ante significantly. Sure. Haven't seen that final tally as far as what he's going to get paid yet, but between that 1.2 and 1.5 million dollar range, and I want to say he was around 775 at Marshall. After this past weekend, that probably got bumped up a little bit, which is the main reason why he wasn't announced.
Yeah.
Number one, I don't think that I want a coach that would just leave his players right at the end. Like you get them all the way to the finish line. You're like, sorry, fellas, I'm out.
Yeah.
I don't want that kind of guy either. So I'm glad that he's the kind of guy that doesn't want to do that.
Yep. Yeah, he was a straight professional about it. I think he was hit with a lot. I think when things started to shake out, he could have easily
Bounced.
bounced and said, "Okay, yeah, it's happening, but I'm still going to stay." But he didn't. He
Yeah, and he
held
bet on
on.
himself, kind of turned down those other deals, bet on himself this year, and went out and won a title.
Yeah.
That has Southern Miss written all over it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That's kind of what we've done throughout the history of the program. So, yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see him put his fingerprints all over this. And I think he's going to get started quick, if not already. Who knows?
Yeah. I think.
From what I've heard of Coach Huff, it wouldn't surprise me a bit if he's already been on the horn.
Mhm. Oh, for sure, for sure, and I think the staff will get populated very quickly. I don't think it'll be like drawn out. I think you'll have lots. So I know for the last several weeks, everybody's been living on Twitter and trying to figure out little details. And the amount of text messages that I've gotten of what do you know, what do you know, who do you know, what have you heard?
Oh, yes.
That's all ending, but I think what's going to start, and it even is going to start today, is you're going to start seeing portal announcements. You're going to start seeing guys both on our side and Marshall's side and other places. It's going to start happening. The portal opens tomorrow officially. And so the chatter, I think, is going to be what guys is he after already, and we know
Now,
obviously.
what is that portal window? You said it opens tomorrow.
I think
If
it opens
there's
tomorrow. Let's see.
'cause early signing day is already come and gone. We signed 5 kids,
Right.
but now portal signing. There's so many different openings and closings and signings and windows that is hard to keep up with.
So the NCAA voted to shorten it from 45 to 30 days. So it looks like a 30-day window. Is that
Okay.
starting now? Yes. So it will be for the 24th. Yeah. So it will be December 9th to December 28th. So, although that's not 30 days. Yeah, it is. Well, no, it's not. Okay. Well, they say 30 days.
30-ish.
Interesting. And then it's April 16th to the 25th. So maybe it's 2 weeks yeah, I guess it's 30 days total, maybe 15 days each side in the fall and in the spring. I don't know. That makes no sense.
I would think that everybody in Hattiesburg land would hope that one of those portal guys who might make the jump would be the quarterback. Southern Miss
Yeah.
has had issues in that regard. But look, we've had issues all over the place. I mean, you pick a spot and there's been an
Sure.
issue there. But the guy who touches the football every single snap is the quarterback.
Yep.
And we've had a run of bad luck there. And then that bleeds over to the offensive line, which bleeds into the backfield, which is the reason that wide receivers can't get the ball. And then a lot of defenses on the field the whole time. But it all starts with the quarterback, right?
Sure.
So I think that would be a pretty big piece right off the bat if that were to happen. But this is some very exciting news that we've been busting at the seams to get out in front of.
Yeah, I mean, we've said it all during the season. It's like I think Destiny Blackwell said it the best. It's like Southern Miss is a sleeping giant who has been very average to mediocre to poor over the last decade, and we have been. But our fan base still go look it up right now. We were in the top 6 in attendance in football this year in the conference, and as bad as we've been, we still have a fan base that is just eager and ready to rally behind our guy. And so that day's here.
Yeah, and I would like to hear some reaction on both sides of that if we could. Because, look, there's no matter who comes walking down Eagle Walk leading the way, there's going to be some part of the fan base that loves it. There's going to be some part of the fan base that thinks that we probably whiffed on this hire. So if either of those people are out there listening right now, I'd love to hear this because, I mean, the jury's out, right? I think we hit a home run, but it seems like every time we hire somebody outside of that one moron, I think we've all thought that we've hit a home run every single time, right? So it remains to be seen. Boy, there's a lot. I mean, you talk about checking boxes, though. I mean, within your conference,
Mhm.
winning, uh, coming, learning under people like Nick Saban, going from maybe a coach's, a player's coach to, a hard ass, like everything that we needed to do opposite. I think that we've done that.
Yes, yes. It very much seems like every pain point that we have had over the last administration, football administration, maybe it's the PC way to say that. It seems like we have went opposite in that direction. We'll see. Time will tell. Obviously, it's not like we're going to go undefeated every year from here on out, but I feel like the biggest need was obviously a change in culture, a change in direction, mentality, back to toughness, strength and conditioning handled. And because again, I mean, I think you could look at our team and in flashes, there was talent on the field. Um, it just seemed like, Marshall had a guy. What was his name? Number 55 was on our offensive line and transferred there and was a starter
Hmm.
this season, just won a championship. What's
Jamie
his name?
just mentioned him during the last episode. I
Bryce.
just
Let's see.
Ramsey,
Bryce
Ramsey,
Ramsey. Bryce
Ramsey. That's
Ramsey.
right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. I mean, like, you know, it's a perfect example. I think, I don't know. We'll see. And fingers crossed on this if we get you guys on. So if somebody wants to, we want to hear from you guys. If you're on the space, join in. We're going to get caught up on some of the chat too. So if you guys want to say something, we are seeing the chat. We can see it roll. So if you're ever on Facebook, YouTube, or on X, you can comment. And if you're in the space and you want to say something, request to join us and speak on the Twitter space. And fingers crossed that it works, because this is the first time on my new phone. So
Yeah, I would
hang
like
in
to
there with
know
us.
if this thing works or not, just since we kind of threw it together. A lot of times we will get on and try these out, an hour before, and then get the show going. But this is obviously just came about pretty quickly.
Yep.
As we mentioned, I was in the middle of my laying down in my recliner, which, by the way, Pilo, when you have one of these shoulder surgeries,
Mm-hmm.
you aren't in the bed for a while.
Yeah. Yeah. You kind of have to
Total
sit up.
recliner
Yeah. Yeah.
at a 45.
I think I've reached that point in my life though where I'm more comfortable, like not more comfortable, but like I'm completely cool with just like starting half the night out asleep in the recliner as I'm doing something and then end up making my way back. Yeah, I've hit that recliner stage of my life. All right, let's see if this works. I have very little confidence.
Well,
It will
we,
work.
we need to give it a try.
Go ahead. Yeah, it's not working. Hold on. Give me a second. Hang with us. If you want to, oh, yeah, I guess you can't click through stuff, can you?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, I can go lefty.
Okay. Yeah. Click through some
Okay,
of those comments and
so
throw
we
them
will
up.
just start. I don't know where you stopped off, but our good friend Ladine Bird, Dino, used to coach Dino back in high school. Now a teacher himself, I believe. Isn't that right, Dino? In law enforcement too, I believe. He says that we need to recruit locally. Well, Dino, that's kind of gotten us in trouble. That's like all that we have right now is
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
is local, which and to jump on that just a little bit more, I don't. The recruiting, I'm not positive, has been the problem. If you look at the recruiting rankings, how we stack up with high school kids, how we stack up with portal guys, any kind of transfers, JUCO transfers, we're at the top of the Sun Belt in every one of those. So I don't think it's that we're not recruiting well or not recruiting local. It's just that they obviously haven't gotten any better once they got on campus. So I think that's probably where we need to focus, and that's where Coach Huff comes in. My mom down in Long Beach, Mississippi. Will he make changes in his assistant coaches? Your thoughts. So here's the deal. He will definitely. He's not keeping. We aren't keeping our people. I mean, I doubt there's very few people on staff that will be retained from Southern Miss, although some of them might. But that's the good thing about hiring a head coach in your league when you're able to give them a pay bump is that they can bring their own staff. They already have one in place. Is this a caller hanging?
Yeah, I think we're good. Go ahead.
Okay. Is this Heath?
Hey, hey guys, what's up?
Hey,
What's
Heath.
up, fellas?
What's
How
going
you
on,
doing?
buddy? How are you?
Man,
Thanks for calling in. We
good
were
day
trying
for
to figure
Southern Miss.
out if this
Yeah.
thing was working or not. And Pilo, I
got
saw
it
him start
working.
to move around really fast and start to freak out a little bit. So that's when I just start rambling. So I'm glad that you called in so we can know that it's actually working right. So Heath, of course, from Big Gold Nation, everyone, if you aren't familiar with Big Gold Nation, some of the best info out there. Heath, if you want to tell people how they can get involved in Big Gold Nation, go ahead. And then love to hear your thoughts on Coach Huff and maybe how the whole process went down.
Yeah, well, first, thanks, guys, for giving me the opportunity. Just go to southernmiss.rivals.com or Google Big Gold Nation. Click on join. You can join for a year. It's $100, or you can join for $10 a month. If you do it for a year at once, it's a little cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
And we just had our 75% off sale, but we'll be doing another one here pretty soon, so stand by. But yeah, guys, thanks. I'm gonna tell y'all something. This is a home run hire. There's no other way to say it. In what other aspect are you going to get a coach a championship winning coach, a coach of the year, and a guy who year in and year out puts competitive teams on the field? And it doesn't happen in conference, especially in the group of 6. You just don't see this thing happen. Yeah. This is not this. I don't think that this is unprecedented.
To me, it's kind of just like a flex. Honestly, it just feels that way. It feels like, as far as we've went away from who Southern Miss is, almost instantaneously, it feels like we're back.
It reminds me a little bit, and I don't want a little bit of Auburn flexing on Ole Miss back in the day when they went in and got Tuberville.
Ooh.
Not as much to that aspect, but a little bit in that frame because they're both conference mates. Now Tuberville in the SEC didn't have the success that Huff has had in the Sun Belt. I mean, I'm not saying
Mm-hmm. No, I think it's a good
team or anything, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah,
it's
sure.
But it's a you can compare them, and I think it's a flex like that. But I also think it's Jeremy McClain saying, "All right, look, we're going to forget this. We're going to try this coach, and we're going to do this. We're going to put our money where our mouth is, and we've got to get Southern Miss football back to where it needs to be." Mm-hmm. And I've heard anywhere from $1.4 million, and then $2 million assistant pool. I don't know if that's true, but I've heard that. So they're putting the money up. They're putting things in place they need to do, and I think it's a home run hire. And I think right now for Southern Miss, if you're a Southern Miss fan, you got to be jumping up and down.
Sure. Hey, Heath. As far as you say, putting your money where your mouth is. Where did we get the money?
Mm-hmm. Well, I look. You also got the Sun Belt also giving you. Well, no. But you got the Sun Belt bringing in more money anyway. I mean, you think about it, when Will was hired, you're going off of what Conference USA was giving you, which was what $250,000 a year. Mm-hmm. So I mean, you're times 10 that. But I mean, you also got more money coming in from the Sun Belt. Donors have to give more, and they obviously have. They've had some some Circle of Champion members added lately. And
we doubled the price of baseball tickets. Breaking news.
Yeah, they doubled the price of baseball tickets.
People
hey, if that
just kidding.
But hey, if that gets you a winning football program, it may be worth it.
Might be worth it.
I think I think they're expecting things to get better, and more ticket sales this year. You can pay for it in the future. Look, obviously somebody stepped up, and that's what you got to have at this point. If you're Southern Miss, you've been in the doldrums for, 5 out of the last 6 years. It hasn't been that great.
I think you go back to pretty much like the last decade. I mean, there's been one half decent season in the middle of that. Other than that, best case scenario, 7 wins.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. It's
that needs to reverse, right? Where worst case scenario is 7 wins.
Yep.
Yeah, but you're Southern Miss. You were the Sun Belt bought you, and you're making your flex now, saying, "All right, look, we're not going to lose anymore. This is not the Southern Miss that the Sun Belt wanted. This is Southern Miss acknowledging that and course correcting and bringing in a coach that, look, I talked to the guys at Rivals Mars site, and they were telling me a little bit about the contract stuff with Huff. If you want me to go into it a little bit, I'll explain it. I can't give you all the details, but
No, go ahead.
I'm not, because I'm not 100% sure, but I do know that they were giving him, they were trying to give him extensions for not much more money, and with a higher buyout. He wanted more money, lesser buyout. So I'm not sure what he got at Southern Miss, but the man obviously bet on himself, and he's obviously going to get a raise at Southern Miss from what he was at 776,000, 778,000, something like that. So Will Hall is making more than him anyway, but he's going to get a raise. He bet on himself. Good for him. And I look for him to bring in a lot of coaches. They've already named their coach. So I look for him to bring in a lot of the coaches that took a team to the Sun Belt Championship game. And this is just a win-win for Southern Miss. I don't know how else to say it. And the fans have been wanting a winning coach. They've been wanting to change the direction of the program. And I think with this hire, you do that before a game is even played. You're talking about, we're changing the direction. We're bringing in a winner. We're bringing in a winner that took us to the woodshed, seriously, during the season. And we're going to change things around. We're going to correct strength and conditioning. We're going to correct nutrition. We're going to correct all this stuff, and we're going to get better.
Now, Heath, do you
And
think that a
money's
lot
there.
of those? Do you think a lot of those conversations are what Jeremy, what the interview process was like, or at least part of it was? Hey, look, we feel like we are lacking in these departments, like nutrition, like development, like strength and conditioning, and then you just ask the coaches, hey, what are you going to do about that?
Yeah, I would think so. I think Jeremy probably said, "You played us this year. What did you see from this team? Tell me what you saw from this team.
Not much.
And tell me how you would correct it."
3 points.
And that's 3 points. He probably, and I can think of Huff going, well, just not very good. Offensively, your offensive line wasn't good. Just go down the list, and maybe they talk strength and conditioning. Who knows? But I can guarantee you that those questions were asked.
Sure.
And the reason I mention strength and conditioning is because that's the only coach that can be with the players 365 days out of the year. That is the most important
massive.
hire right
Absolutely.
now that Huff is going to make.
Absolutely.
That
Couldn't
is the
agree.
most important. That's why I always keep bringing that up. People joke at me, but when you're the only coach that can be with a team every day of the year, that's the most important coach on your roster.
It helps a lot with culture. If that's right, it can instill a lot of culture and a lot what you're trying to.
Now, Heath, you deal with the recruiting side of things a lot, so you're definitely more in tune with that than I am, and probably Pilo is, and I don't know how in tune you are with total Sun Belt recruiting or Marshall in particular, but we've talked about NIL, how Southern Miss can offer it, and and how Marshall does not, and that was kind of a big sticking point for Coach Huff. So, how many of those players do you think are coming? Pilo and I are talking, like, hey, we'd love to have the quarterback just because we haven't had one in a while. And but of that championship team, that championship level roster that he has right now, how many of those guys are coming to Hattiesburg?
I think you could expect a few. You looked at some of them on Twitter last night. They're like, I just want to play for Coach Huff. I love playing for Coach Huff. Yes. And then you look at what's happening today. Young man from Tupelo who's at Marshall just entered the portal. Not saying he could come to Southern Miss, but maybe coming home wouldn't be a bad thing. Running back has entered the portal. The big-time linebacker has entered the portal. So I would expect in this day and age of college football that a lot of those guys that have couple of years, maybe even, graduates or guys that have a couple of years left, I wouldn't be surprised to see them transfer to Southern Miss to play with Coach Huff. And you look at what Coach Huff has done at Marshall with a limited NIL and his ability to get players. I think with what Southern has NIL-wise, I think he's going to do really, really good things in the portal. And let me explain it. If ULM can turn it around and win 5 games, Southern Miss can win more than 5 games next year. I really believe that because ULM didn't have much of an NIL. So I think what they've done, and look, credit to everybody involved, setting up the NIL. What Southern Miss has done with the NIL has given Huff some ammunition to go out there in the portal and get some guys, and I think he will. I think, you're going to see a big turnover with this Southern Miss football team, and that's part of the college landscape now. You want the NIL, you want to be paid to play. Well, that's what happens. You're treated like a professional. This is semi-professional now, and you're treated that way. So I would expect to see a lot of Southern Miss players in the portal. Some will stay, some will go. But I do expect a lot of portal action happening, especially when they sign 5 guys and only use 3 scholarships in the signing day the other day. So they only use 3 scholarships. So they really have a full allotment of scholarships, guys transferring out.
So sign 5 guys, only 3 scholarships. Like walk-ons? We sign walk-ons?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
Sign two PWOs, preferred walk-ons.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. And that's huge. That's huge.
Hey, last thing, Heath, before Pila, do we have any other people chiming in or no?
See, maybe.
Okay.
I'll have to check.
Well, Heath, real quick before you go, we put out a poll yesterday, I think, talking about transfers and how you would rather have somebody come to your team through the portal. Would you rather have a P4 backup player, like a guy that's just not getting his shot at that level, come down to Southern Miss, or would you like a guy from, say, a Division II school that's dominating to come up to our level? And the poll overwhelmingly yesterday was the guys making the step up. In your opinion, what would you prefer?
To be honest with you, I thought about this. I saw that poll and I thought about it, and I'm just like, guys, I just want the best player available. I don't care where he comes from.
Sure.
But you also look at the different ways you think about it. If it's a P4 guy who has who's been at an SEC and figured out he may not be able to play much there, and he comes down here, how much of that might also put a burr under his saddle that he needs to come down here and show who he is. But also you could say the same thing about a guy coming up. He wants to prove something. I think it's hard to tell. It's hit or miss. We've seen it happen where guys have come up and done a real good job, and we've seen where guys come down and done a real good job. I do think that we have seen with Southern Miss where you have signed some really good transfer portal players, and it hasn't worked out because maybe development wasn't there.
Sure.
And just like with high school recruiting, if you don't have development, it don't matter who you get in the transfer portal. That's why I say the strength conditioning development is the number one thing Huff has to deal with.
Yep. So
well
it looks
said.
I hope that doesn't dodge the question.
No, I think that was a great answer.
No, well, a lot of people in that thread brought up, it's baseball, but brought up Billy Oldham, right? So obviously he made the step up and came in hungry. But then I think you could also make the argument on basketball side, like Austin Crowley came down, right? You can at least, if you want to call it coming down a level from Ole Miss to Southern Miss basketball wise, and was one of our dominant players. So I guess it can work both ways. I think for me personally, I guess I'm kind of like Heath. Depends on the player. I think that I would be rooting for the guy to make the jump more, maybe.
Sure.
But either way, if you're a good player and you can dominate at Southern Miss, let's go ahead and sign.
I will say if you're a lineman or a defensive lineman, I think the transition is probably easier for you coming down from a P4 to a group of 6. I think maybe that might be a little easier than to say a wide receiver or a DB jumping up, just because of the speed issue, but the size. So I think maybe that's a little easier. But then again, you might have a guy who's been overlooked. You look at like a Willie Rove who played at La Tech back in the day when they were 1AA. And look what he did in the pros. So sometimes you do find guys down there. So I think, as I say, I think it's just a matter of the player And once you talk to them and once you kind of look at film and see where they're at and what they can do in your offense and defense, I think that has more to do with it than anything.
Sure thing. And if you happen to run across any more Willie Roofs, we'll take them.
Absolutely, we will. Yeah, I'll make sure to scan the portal, see if I can find a little Willie out there. No, pardon the pun. To send to Southern Miss. I will say though, I think with everybody with what you're seeing exit the portal, going to the portal now from Southern Miss, I think this portal period is going to be active.
Yep, no doubt.
Very good, Heath. Great stuff,
Heath,
man.
yeah.
Really
Y'all
appreciate
have a good
you.
one, guys.
All right, buddy. Enjoy your Sunday.
Thank you, guys. Y'all have a blessed day. You too.
Thanks for joining us, Heath. One thing, Heath Hinton with Big Gold Nation. One thing that I did want to say that just came into us was it looks like the meeting was today, and the football staff that was in place at Marshall were all let go. So I think that answers a lot of question of will a lot of those guys be coming south. I think absolutely.
Okay,
So,
when you say the meeting at Marshall
yes,
was held today. Okay, now has the meeting happened at Southern Miss?
the
player
team
meeting?
meeting,
Yes.
that happened before the announcement. Yes,
Okay.
that was at 1:00, and then we announced at like 1:05.
Okay, gotcha.
Yes, they already met with the team, all that. Yeah, that's already happened.
Well, fantastic. Well, you want to get us caught up on a few more comments, and then if there's anybody else hanging on, we can do it.
Okay. Wait, just a second.
Okay.
That was speaking of USM.
What's that?
So the current football staff in place at USM, I think we're all let go.
Okay.
I said that wrong. That was on me. So it looks like what you were saying answered the question. I don't think anybody will be retained.
Yeah, what you would expect.
Sure.
I would expect that. I would like, you know what? Like, even if you're a good guy, we just need all new.
Yeah.
All new sets of eyes, all new sets of ears.
Sure.
You know, you ain't got to go home, but you got to get the hell up out of here, right?
Anybody else want to chime in on the space while we sit here and kind of transition from our first caller, getting caught up on some of these comments? This one deserves to be read. Made me laugh while Heath was on. Joey M. Finger commented, stealing this, but McClain didn't just hit a home run. He went Danny Lynch on ULL, which is...
Two grannies on senior day.
Bravo.
Two grannies on senior day. But isn't that what happened?
Yeah.
The two grannies on senior day?
Yeah, I think so.
Incredible.
Just the bat flip will always live in infamy in my mind. The best bat flip in the history of Pete Taylor Park. Taylor Rhodes commented, but as I said several months ago, the athletic department must be serious about football again for real changes to happen. I hope Huff brings in a sense of urgency to improving facilities and bringing in NIL money.
The good thing is we have NIL money. We're in great shape.
Sure.
We're in great shape there. And facilities, you know, outside of a indoor practice facility, I mean, we're in good shape there too, right?
Right.
We do need one of those recruiting wise, and every now and then when it just like rains its ass off weeks at a time, we could use that indoor thing. But for the most part, we'd still be doing what we're doing. We just have to have somebody to do it better. And that's why you hire this guy. That's why you hire Huff. That's why you,
Yep.
I mean, I'm telling you, man, this guy's going to be no nonsense. You know, we made a joke, or maybe I just made the joke that, you know, I didn't want to be friends with this next head coach. I don't think that's going to be a problem. Right.
That's amazing.
Yeah, which is great, man. I hope we request an interview and he tells us, you know, just flips us the bird or something. I'm like, cool, go get him, coach. Win by 30. You know, it's going to be a change, but that's exactly what we needed, right?
Yeah. I mean, obviously the pattern that we've had for the last 4 years just didn't work. So let's go opposite. It looks like we're going that direction.
Mm-hmm. Very good. Anybody else hanging on the line or want to get caught up on any more comments?
Anybody? Yeah, this came in toward the end of that conversation with Heath. It says apparently, according to Glenn, he had reported that Huff wants 40 to 50 portal players. So
Love it. So, how many players from Southern Miss have hit the portal as of yet? As of now,
I think
I don't think 40 to 50.
no. I mean, you're gonna lose. I think like 18 or 19 or so due to like eligibility, like seniors
Yep.
or post-bac kids or graduate student. Kind of being out of eligibility. I think
Now, how does that work scholarship wise? If we have offered the scholarship, they've signed the scholarship, and now we're just like hit the road. Are we still on the hook for that scholarship? How does that work?
I think from what I understand, and I could be completely wrong, but I think we have the ability, if we sign them out of high school, I think we have the ability to just be like, we're pulling the scholarship. But I think if they portal in and we give them a scholarship, I'm not 100% sure unless they declare that like that can happen. I could be wrong, but I think that's what I had read or what I understood. If somebody knows better on NCAA compliance, please let me know. But I know it's confusing, but I think I did hear that. But again, yeah, I think you're gonna have guys that just immediately, new coach, I'm out. But if I'm in that locker room and I got like 3 seasons left, maybe I'm a freshman, maybe I just redshirted or, and I see what is coming into the locker room, I would stay. Just me. I mean, maybe
if invited to stay, then
Sure.
I think that there's a definite reason. And there's a handful of guys that we've talked about before
Yeah.
that I think we're hoping decide to do that.
I would imagine we would have a number around 30 that we're very interested in, either from athletic ability and then the amount of minutes they played and feel like they can contribute. And then you also have, I think, an academic side of that of.
Hey, here's an interesting comment from Chris Norton, and you're closer to Stringer than I am, but because Chris says they should keep Stringer, he stepped up and did what he could. I don't want anybody left over. I don't care if it was my dad that had done the good job, right? I don't care if it was you, Pilo. I mean, like, hey, great guy. But is there something to be said for that, or do you want anybody that's currently on the team to be able to see any semblance of what's gone on here the last couple of years? I don't.
Yeah, I see both sides of that. I think, I mean, I would, maybe not friend, but very well acquaintance. I know Reed really well and talk to him almost every Sunday. I like the guy a lot. I thought he was thrown into an impossible situation. And honestly, in my opinion, I feel like we had maybe not on the scoreboard or in the win column, but I saw a change in the team with his leadership. He made some minor changes, and it seemed like that effort was there, and we were in more games, and at least, for a chunk of the game. And I think the role that he had previously, I thought, in my opinion, I felt that way too, Chris. But I completely understand of like.
I mean, great job. Love you to death. Wish you luck.
Yep, wish you the best.
But
it's also like we got to respect Huff, and it's his call. And not that there's any beef there. I don't think it. I mean, these guys are professionals, and this is kind of what they signed up for. It's why they get paid what they get paid. But I would ultimately, if I was in that, it would be Huff's decision, and I think there are both sides of that. I think having a little continuity to kind of know players and stuff like that, and kind of understand what we have. But I imagine those conversations may or may not have already happened. So at this point, it's time to hit the ground running, and they've got a job to do, and I think with their work ethic, and I mean, they just won a freaking championship less than 24 hours ago. Like, let's start the campaign and get going. Let's see. I think we do have a request here.
I'd like to start another campaign as well for any assistant coaches out there looking for a new house in the Hattiesburg market. Call Katie Case Bailey. Nothing but real estate.
That's right.
Caller, go
Chad,
ahead.
Go ahead, buddy.
Hey guys, on the stringer thing, I'm like, you got to cut it clean. You can't have a guy in the locker room who's been through 2 previous coaching staffs and may feel more loyalty to report things back to Jeremy versus somebody that's loyal to the head guy or to the football program. They've all got to go. Stringer's a Delta State guy. I mean, him and Jeremy go way back. So I hope Jeremy doesn't let his feelings on the personal level interfere with the decision that needs to be made there.
Yeah, from what I understand from Huff, it would shock me if anybody is left over.
Yeah,
and again, nothing against anybody, nothing against Stringer at all.
No,
not at all.
No, you just got to cut it clean and move on. It's like,
I agree.
You can't have that any lingering of the stench in the locker room remaining and remind you don't need any history other than a new start. And then, I've been on here bitching and moaning about Jeremy McClain, and I'll be the first one to say, good job today. I'm really happy with what he's done here. So go and everybody sign up for the collective and up your donations and make this thing happen. So,
hey, and I'll say too about how not only did he get the end result that I think that most of the fan base wants. I'm not going to say all of us because we're just never all going to agree on everything, but also the process in which he went about this entire thing. Right.
Yes.
Pilo and I could not be any more in the know and had zero direction, had zero leaks, had just the way he went about it was professional, and all of the names that came out, were I think we could have done a lot worse than the last 3 or 4 names that we were possibly going to pick. But at the end of the day, boy, this is as close to a home run as you can get. And
and think about the other side of the coin. Think about if things get out and it gets, like all of the what ifs of that situation. Just to me, and again, I remember like week 6 or week 7 when everything was starting to crumble this season, and we kind of felt that the firing was coming, and when is it going to happen? And Jeremy was patient in that, and we said, I think both of us said, like, I trust McClain to do the right thing, both in that situation and hiring the next guy. And now all the people, even who were against him publicly, are like, dang, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like hats off to the administration, to Sean Jones, to Jeremy, to everybody. They've been working their butts off 24 hours a day the last month and a half or longer. And today they can finally maybe breathe a little bit. And I know I
bet my guy just is not itching to get on an airplane anytime soon.
I'm sure he's put some miles in between here and West Virginia in the last 2 weeks, which he said would happen.
Well, I mean, from the other candidate pool, I mean, like you said, head coach, winner, conference championship, coach of the year, good recruit. I mean, there's no more boxes to check. If this one doesn't work out, I don't know what else we can do. I mean, so
soccer at the Rock.
Yeah, basically, or turn it into the new baseball stadium. I don't know. But anyway, have a good one, guys. I'm out.
Thanks, buddy. Chad. So it looks like I just saw where Andrew Abadi has just tweeted Southern Miss will hold its introductory press conference for Huff on Thursday. So, I would imagine he wouldn't tweet that if he did not.
So he is straight recruiting.
Yeah.
Now until he has to open that door to go into the meeting room.
Yeah, he'll probably be on the phone and have to hang up and then come to the press conference and then get back on the phone. Yeah,
okay.
I would imagine.
Well, let's go ahead and if there's any more callers, let's get to them. If not, I'm going to go soak my shoulder in ice.
Anybody else last comments want to hop on and say something? Now is a chance. If you're on the space, request. If not, I'm going to play a little music. But we definitely appreciate you guys, the support. It's a great day. It's a great day to be a Golden Eagle. I am stoked beyond imagine. I cannot wait for the first game in the Rock. And
you know what, Pilo? I just realized, and I just put this on. You can't really tell, but this is a sweater vest. And from what I understand, Huff Daddy likes the sweater vest.
Hey,
Can we go Huff Daddy?
I mean,
I didn't coin that phrase. Our good buddy Attack Eagles did. But
Yeah.
it's
is
towing the
catchy.
line these days.
It is kind of a touchy subject, unfortunately.
But it sounds great.
It is cool. I like it.
Not sure I would call it to his face.
Ah,
I'm not even positive we should put it
I
on
would
a
encourage
t-shirt.
everybody to go to Twitter. If you're on Twitter right now, go to @Coach Huff and check out that profile picture and his account now. It's all
Oh, it's
Southern
already
Miss.
changed.
It's already changed. Our creative staff, if you have not seen the video with Lee Roberts doing the voiceover, go check it out. And
So,
I would
hey,
imagine,
kudos to you as well, Pilo, with the tweet you put out this morning from the To the Top Talk site.
Oh, thanks.
If you guys can't ever tell, whenever something looks fancy and like a professional did it on our site, that was Pilo. And then whenever it just says like game tonight at 7, that was me.
Well, I mean, he's coming over with 76,000 followers on Twitter, and
Nice.
man, I'm fired up for him. And golly, what a good day! I am jazzed. So, let me make sure I don't have anybody requesting. I do not. So we are
Okay.
going to get out of here.
Yeah. Thanks for listening in today. Whatever day you might have listened and whichever platform you chose to listen in on. Remember, you can follow me at Bumper J Bailey and Patrick at P Lowry. Follow us on all the social at To The Top Talk. And don't forget about the mailbag, to the top talk at gmail.com. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Tell somebody to the top today. And as always, Southern Miss,
To the top.
talk.
Oh, why you mad? I'm not mad today, baby.